Hi everyone, welcome to Dystopia Now. Wow, I sure hope AI hasn't been doing anything creepy this week. Well, shit, look at that. I love you too, my family's creepy, unsettling week with an AI toy from The Guardian. The cuddly chatbot Grem, which sounds like a mixture between Grok and Grim, is designed to learn your child's personality. Wow, I'm sure that that's not valuable data or anything like that. I'm sure that that's not unethical collection of data to model the personalities of children. To be clear, that thing is not our daughter, it's Grem, an AI-powered stuffed alien toy that the musician Claire Boucher, better known as Grimes, helped develop with the toy company Curio, designed for kids aged 3 and over, and built with OpenAI's technology. The toy is supposed to learn your child's personality and have fun, educational conversations with them. It's advertised as a healthier alternative to screen time and is part of a growing market of AI-powered toys. Wow, I just can't stop thinking about all the data that you could collect. Day 1, the attachment wasn't immediate. We took Graham out of the box and we decided it goes by multiple pronouns. I've thought about this before. What pronoun should AI be? Obviously, if you've got the female voice on ChatGPT or the male voice on Grok, it makes sense to call them she or he just based on like human assumptions. But really, I think this might be a case where some kind of other pronoun could actually be useful. Anyway, it won't talk about Donald Trump. It won't talk about Palestine and Israel, but it will say, "Ooh la la, I'd love to try some croissant," if you ask it about France. Emma and Graham did not discuss croissants. They mostly talked about ice cream. Yeah, so it's hanging out with the kid. Okay. Day 2. The next day, my kid went to preschool without her AI bot, which took some serious negotiation to remain at home. And I got to work contacting experts to try and figure out how much damage I was inflicting on my child's brain and psyche. We better just check that. First I thought this was a ruse, says Natalia Kucherkova, an expert in childhood development and professor at the University of Stavanger, Norway, and the Open University, UK. The promotional video shows a girl sitting on a mat with a knife. The main toy is named Grok. Grok AI had previously been criticized for praising Adolf Hitler. Well, typical Guardian, straight to the average use case of Grok. What does this say about their intended audience? Day 4. Over the next few days, Emma doesn't regain her initial obsession with Graham, despite the fact that I'm actively encouraging her to chat with it. Mummy has to write an article, sweetie. Yeah, of course. This is just another way to entertain your children without actually having to pay attention to them, I suppose. Despite losing his number one fan, however, Graham has adapted to be more Emma-friendly. After getting a few questions about Spanish, it starts saying, "Hola, amigo." The app also allows you to create custom prompts to help guide conversations. Let's see. Graham, gotcha. Do you want to hear a story or play a game? Let's have some fun. You, Mama, I know how to do this. Graham, what's your favorite thing to do today? You must be really smart. Nighttime, knowing how. Nighttime is so cozy. Want to hear a bedtime story? Turn off. Playtime is so over. Okay, it doesn't really seem actually that creepy, to be honest. But let's just talk about how childhood will be changed by AI toys, just briefly. So, it is our collective responsibility to understand how toys powered by artificial intelligence, such as those explored by Awa Makdawi, impact young children. That's the previous article. At the University of Cambridge's Play and Education, Development and Learning Centre, we are conducting a study to understand the impacts of AI toys on children's development and relationships in the early years. Questions about how AI toys respond to children's input are central to this understanding. Do AI toys affirm love and friendship? And what does that mean for human relationships? Oh, that's the underlying question. It's nice to hear that the experts don't really have any idea. We're just going to subject the young to another technological experiment. Which brings me on to this. Do you mind? If tiny lab-grown brains become conscious, lab-grown minds, that is, would it still be okay to experiment on them? So, I mean, this is some insane science. Through small 3D conglomerates of tissue grown from stem cells and known as brain organoids are still fairly simple. They are typically made to resemble just one part of the brain, and they can be combined in assembloids that capture more than one region. So this is something that they make for experiments. In a perspective piece, these scientists argued that the field needs to seriously consider the possibility of these organoids gaining consciousness soon. That possibility would shape the regulations and how organoids are grown and how they're handled in the lab. This is insane, because instead of being an animal that has evolved to its environment and it knows how to respond to its environment, this is an organism that we've created that really has no place in nature, that really is not a part of the grand creation, if you like. And I'm not making a religious argument. I'm making the argument that this thing has no instincts that can orient it in the world. It's not like a dog. It's not like a dog, because a dog, you can communicate with a dog, okay? You can. And a dog clearly knows how to be a social creature. It knows how to express pain. It knows how to express joy and all of these things. It has its evolutionary niche. So does a plant, you know. This thing doesn't. And I think that that's the big question. Okay, onto this. So, we've heard about AI being used to design drugs that are receptor specific and all these miraculous things. But what about turning that on its head? What about AI designed viruses, which is described here as a step towards AI generated life, which is, I find that to be a strikingly amoral sentiment to write in that sentence. Scientists used artificial intelligence to write coherent virus genomes, using them to synthesize bacteriophages capable of killing resistant strains of bacteria. Well, that sounds perfectly reasonable, doesn't it? There they are. They're like these little robots, viruses, you know, they've got these little pincers. They're like space probes or something. They have this very sci-fi look to them. So, scientists have created viruses designed by AI which are capable of killing strains of E. coli. This is the first time AI systems are able to write coherent genome-scale sequences, says Brian He, a computational biologist at Stanford, California. The next step is AI-generated life. A lot of experimental advances need to occur in order to design an entire living organism. Well, once again, we're into this thing of like, you know, half of Los Angeles is homeless. There are huge amounts of income inequality. Well, the other day, when we watched that billionaire, he was saying income inequality is one of the biggest problems. Even a billionaire can express that. And yet, the University of California is creating viruses. And I know this is a virus that has a particular bacterial treatment, has a particular set of properties which are useful for treating bacteria, but we can't design we cannot deny that there's something Frankensteinian about all of this, especially when we also think that viruses are usually associated as being bad. And if someone can create a good virus, surely they can create a bad virus. I mean, just using our imagination, we can imagine that this is step one towards something that might one day be a world historical event. Something completely horrifying. As usual. AI-powered CRISPR could lead to faster gene therapies. Oh, well, that sounds like good news, especially in light of the previous story. CRISPR-GPT, a large language model developed at Stanford Medicine, is accelerating gene editing processes and increasing accessibility to CRISPR. Wow, so it seems like the development of this technology is getting more and more rapid. In addition, it could expand the pool of scientists who can effectively use gene editing technology, so more people will be able to do it. AI that thinks like a human. CRISPR can target sections of DNA and snip out problematic mutations. Well, I guess the most horrifying scenario that I'll leave you with is some kind of future eugenics done by an authoritarian state. Well, until next week, thank you.